I want to show you guys something. I'm going to finish up with 2 pitches tonight. I'm going to make them quick because we've been here for a long time. I want you to think about the last time that you were involved with something new, novel, and different. See, when I talk about the intentional congruence, what I'm talking about is basically spending the last 10 years building a network of over 600 to 1,000 people. Because when you build a network of 600 to 1,000 people, what it becomes is a tremendous feeder system. And I did not know that when I built Monster Producer. I basically built Monster Producer to coach people and change people's lives. And then one day I woke up after going on a retreat in Seaside, Florida, and I come down and all of these people are exchanging business with each other. All of these people are talking ideas. All of these people are talking about joint ventures. And it just occurred to me immediately, we have built this incredibly powerful network. And when you have an incredibly powerful network, think of it as a feeder system that feeds other things. What does it feed? Joint ventures, partnerships, capital being raised, new businesses, right? So when I had the concept of the Greatness Factory, I want you to imagine a place in a city or in many cities that attracts the best people in every market. And when you attract the best people in every market, what could happen? When you make a decision to become great, when you personally make a decision to become great in Murfreesboro, where do you go? Now I want you to think about this. When you either through pain or potential, one day you wake up and you're like, man, I'm ready to play at a much higher level. Right? I'm ready to play, I'm ready to blow it up. Where do you go? You can't go to the YMCA, your local church is not equipped to help you with your potential. Where do you go? So people go, in my opinion, to very low-level things. And no offense to the chambers of commerce, they go to B&I meetings, they go to local things that are not equipped to grow the body, the mind, the heart, and the spirit. Okay? So everything I do is whole person theory, body, mind, heart, and spirit. How do you touch all 4 parts of a person's nature? So many years ago when I was a basketball coach, mamas and dads would drop their daughters off to me, and I had this statement, and they would say, my daughter has a lot of potential, you know, she just needs a few things, confidence, structure, bounce back, accountability. And I would always say, well, thank you for bringing your daughter to us because we have our own little greatness factory. And we're manufacturing greatness. Does that make sense? So many years later, I decided when I decided to build this place, we were going to build a place that would manufacture greatness, okay? But it was very different. We've heard of WeWorks. You guys have heard of WeWorks. We've heard of eSpaces. We've heard of all of these concepts where you can go, co-mingle, co-work, almost say cohabitate, but I don't think you can do that there. But you can get there, and you maybe the greatness factor needs to include that factor too. But think about your day right now. How many of you get up in the morning and go to a gym or go work out somewhere? I know I do. Then I have to go home. Okay. Then I have to go to work. Then I have to go do all this other stuff. Imagine a place where you could come in the morning and work out because the Greatness Factory's got a gym. I may partner with somebody like Bill Taylor to do cardio kickboxing, somebody who's in Monster Producer. So you can go there. Then you can take a shower there. Then you can work there. Then you can go during the day and sit in the meditation spa and relax. Then you can take meetings in the dream room. Then you can do the podcast, your own podcast in there like I was telling you today, right? You could do your own videos there because people don't know how to do that. It's got a full kitchen. Okay, it's got offices for rent in there, and the rent of these offices that are in here is $3,500 a month for 70 square feet. Now, why would somebody pay $3,500 a month for 70 square feet? John, you know the answer to this question. How valuable is that real estate? To have one mortgage originator in there, one title company, one insurance person, that all 600 people walk by every day, that is implanted there. Hotze Health and Wellness may have an office there, so they can penetrate the market. So the Greatness Factory that we're building on Fortress, which is about 7 minutes from here, we purchased the lot. We're about to break ground on this. This has 9 different revenue drivers. Okay, when I show you the revenue drivers, so this is something you would never see in Rutherford County. This is going to stand out like you can't imagine. Because what I did is I went to Nashville and hired one of the best architects. I spent $88,000 on the plans alone. That's how meticulous. Shane McFarland, the mayor of this city who's building this, said this will be the most meticulous building in Rutherford County. He said, I have done most of the major construction in Rutherford County, okay, of all the new buildings, including some of the restaurants, some of the stuff, and he said nothing in this city even touches how this is. You know how Steve Jobs went overboard when he built all the Apple stuff? That's kind of what I've done with this, right? So when you think about this Greatness Factory, this rooftop holds 150 people. Now, why would you want 150 people on the rooftop? Afternoons, evenings, wine downs, companies can rent it, right? So imagine at the end of the day, we go out, you have a glass of wine, you sit there and talk. We have music playing up there. There's all kinds of things we're going to do on the rooftop up there, but it can be rented, okay? Now, when you look at the other parts of the Greatness Factory, I want to show you where the revenue is coming. So when you think about this, when you first come in, this is shared space right here. So a person could work from the Greatness Factory every day. We expect to sell a minimum of 50 memberships at $199 a month. That's $120,000 of revenue for people to come and work from the Greatness Factory. We've already sold one to my guy right here, right? You signed up for one a long time ago. You don't remember that, do you? Okay? He committed to it, all right? I got you. I got to remember it.
He has
Okay? Don't think I don't forget. I got a memory of an elephant, man. So my point is shared space. So when you think about e-spaces, when you think about places where people go to work that don't want an office, don't want the overhead, don't want all those things, that's where they're going to work from. Podcast studio. How many of you need to be doing a podcast but you don't know how to do it? Raise your hand. All of you. Every person in this room should be writing their own book, should be doing their own podcast. But here's what people say: I don't know how to do it. How do I cut the video? How do I do it on Facebook Live? How do I turn it into a podcast? How do I turn it into a YouTube channel? So this podcast studio is going to be rented all the time. We expect about $180,000 of revenue out of the podcast room because all these monster producers are going to be wanting to do their own podcast. Everybody see that? And you should be doing your own podcast. These are the offices that are for rent. We already have a 3-year contract on 2 of the offices. That means they've already committed to $42,000 a year times 3, 100, whatever that is, $120,000, $130,000 of revenue has already been generated and signed lease with Carrie Ann Sear, CMG. She's already got her spot in there. Don't think that woman's not a cheetah. Because she said, if there's going to be a mortgage originator in there, it's going to be me. Does that make sense? So she already pre-leased this thing before we even started building it. So think insurance company, title company, like I said, Hotze Health and Wellness. And what I do is I bundle these packages together. So you say, man, $3,500 a month for rent. Well, they also can get coaching. They can get the rooftop. They can spend time in the podcast. So the offices are very valuable. Up here, you've got a dream room, which is for conference areas. You can rent it out. Imagine coming in and having the cool boards where you can draw up, charge for strategy, that type of thing. Then my team is over here. You've got a 90-person training facility that can be rented. Anybody ever try to rent space to have a meeting in Rutherford County? Not long ago, we did Monster Producer in Cool Springs at Embassy Suites, and I paid $4,000 for 2 hours at Embassy Suites in Cool Springs. It started at $1,750, and by the time it was all done, the $80 for coffee, the $300 or $400 for the projection screen, the water even costs money, everything, right? I got the bill for $4,000, and I said, never again am I spending $4,000. So what are we competing with here? You're competing with the DoubleTree Hotel, which is very old and outdated. You're competing with Embassy Suites. So this training room is going to be rented constantly. This is a meditation spa. You say, what would we do with a meditation spa? I just thought it'd be cool to have one, okay? Now, here's the concept. You guys watch the show Billions? Bobby Axelrod goes in there and he kind of winds down. Not long ago when I went to Jack's Salt Shop, Jack does the Breathe Easy salt rooms where you sit in there and breathe the salt in. You could take business meetings in there. I'm sitting in there, the music's playing, I'm taking in the salt. I'm thinking, man, this is what the meditation spa is going to be like. You're going to walk in there, you're going to sit in there and cool out. We can sit there and talk. Me and Ryan Denny can sit there and talk a little business side by side with some music playing. If you ever go to Mandalay Bay, they got a man spa there. It's one of the coolest things in the world, okay? Once you figure it out, you don't even want to go anywhere else except the man spa. So when I was at Mandalay Bay with the man spa, I was like, man, we need one of these in the Greatness Factory. Place to sit there and cool. I like nice big bathrooms because I travel all over the world and I hate little bitty stalls about this big. So if you notice all of the bathrooms that are in here, they're very big bathrooms. These spas that are in here are very big bathrooms because they're nice and it's going to be really cool. Now when you go up top, you've got a gym, which is right here, which turns into a shared space after hours. So during the day, you're not thinking weights. So don't think you're going to Gold's Gym. Think you're going to karate kickboxing, or you're going to full body workouts with a certified trainer, probably a partner of ours. At night, it turns into a shared space. You've got restrooms up here, and you also have showers up here. Okay? Now, so this thing is set to generate revenue in 9 different ways. Now, what's the big play here? The big play is once we get the first one built, we already have people who want to franchise or license these. In Houston, obviously in Raleigh, they want to franchise or license this, and I'm paying a guy $25,000 right now to go through that whole economic model, and he's basically going through and giving me different options. So you can license it, and here's the economic model to license it. You can franchise it, here's the economic model, okay? You can joint venture it. So the people that invest in the first round with me here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, the very first one are going to have the first rights to go with me into any other market that I go into, okay? So what are we asking for? We're asking for a $100,000 investment. The $100,000 investment gets you a 4% equity stake in the building, in the real estate. Okay, and we've already done the economic models. This would be a very sellable building if we choose to sell it in the future. It's got a lot of cool features. There's a lot of things that could go on here besides what I'm using it for, okay? So it's a very sellable building. So we're looking at a $100,000 investment. You get a 4% equity stake in the real estate, okay, which means you capture the appreciation, the depreciation, cost segregation, and you also get 6% interest paid out monthly on your investment. Okay, so that's the offer. That's good. Okay, that's the offer that's on the table today. Now, when you think about it, and I'll take any questions that you have, right now we're choosing to get local investors. We have talked to private equity firms, and private equity firms may come in and say, we'll give you 95% of the money. 95% of the money, all you have to do is put up 5%. And the reason they would do that for us is because they believe that we would build other greatness factories. Does that make sense? And so there's groups out there that invest in daycare centers, and they'll give them 95% of the cash, the 95% of the financing, and they put 5% in so they can build multiple ones. Because if you do it one at a time, you got to put 20% down for the bank. Okay? What questions do you have?
Is 100 a minimum?
Right now, the investment is set up on a $100,000 minimum, but if there's another offer, if there's another money, I'm sure we'd be open to that. Basically, the way we've set it up, it's on a 15-year. But it's going to pay out in perpetuity as long as you're an investor. But we will set it up if you want an exit out of it. And Dave is already committed. Dave's already one of the investors. You can invest another $100,000 if you're up for it tonight. But you want to tell the people why you chose to invest in this? So Dave was looking at investment with Grant Cardone, who he's never going to talk to, who he's never going to have a say in anything, who he's never going to get to touch any of these things or stay in them. And he said, look, I'd rather invest my money with you in something that we're going to build locally that's going to be great. See it, touch it, feel it, be part of it. Now, what's the other value of being an investor in this? Proximity. What's the value of having proximity to people like this right here? What's the value of being on the inner circle of things like this? What is the value to that? It's a whole lot more than $100,000.
So is it cheaper for us?
Okay. I didn't say that. Damn. But my point is we also have purchased the lot beside the Greatness Factory for the Greatness Factory for kids. Okay? So I believe these two concepts together are going to be huge. You got the Greatness Factory on one lot, you got the Greatness Factory for kids side by side. And that's going to be a huge concept. So we have purchased both of these lots.
Explain the 6%, how that works.
Okay, so basically $100,000 every month, you get a 6% return on that. So you get a $500 check every single month as part of your payout. It's not going to be a quarterly payout like most investments are. It's going to be every single month you're going to get a check. Okay, and then you got the piece of equity in the building. So you're getting the depreciation. You're getting, we figure the internal rate of return at between 9 and 12% based on once you look at all the variables.
You'll get a K1 at the end of the year for your depreciation and everything on that building too. So.
Yes, sir.
Is there any idea like this anywhere else?
Not that we can find. There are portions of this idea, like I said, where we work in e-spaces, but there is no, the uniqueness of this model is it has something for all four parts of a person's nature: the body, the mind, the heart, and the spirit. And that's really why this is built. So if you see the Greatness Factory website, it basically shows you kind of the vision of how we're doing that. So you got one place, basically shows you down here, all equipped to do all of these things. This is what it's equipped to do. Then once you get down to the bottom, it shows you the different revenue models. Okay, so it shows you different pricing structures. So, for $199, $499, $799, $2,500, $3,500, those are the pricing models. Okay, but I don't know of anything that's similar to this. One mistake I made is that when the YMCA was for sale, I could have purchased the YMCA for about $3.5 million. David Price ultimately purchased that. It's a big mistake on my part because it came equipped with a lot of square footage, okay? With a lot of square footage in what I had. And my biggest regret is I wasn't as advanced in my thinking. I was scared. I didn't think I could go out and raise the capital. You understand what I'm saying? So I would ride by and go, man, that'd be a great greatness factory. That'd be a great greatness factory. That'd be a great greatness factory. But I didn't have the guts to say, this is it, man. We're doing it. We're going to figure out how to get the money. We're going to do this. So, but the beauty of doing it like this the first time is the concept of license and franchising. Once people walk in this, you know, once Christy Morgan walks in this from Phoenix, and once Amanda Williams walks in this, and once these people walk in it, what are they going to say? I want one of these. People are, we get calls every single week for people wanting one right now. We don't even have it built yet. I just put it out to the universe that we're doing it, okay?
When do you want to break ground?
We're breaking ground hopefully in the next 30 days.
Okay. And when I have it completed?
He tells us 10 months.
And when does the refinance from the construction loan go to fixed?
Well, I'll let you speak to that on how the economics of that works. Because basically we get an appraisal, which we're going through right now. So they're basically doing the appraisal of the building based on the specs, okay? And then the bank's going to fund the money,
okay,
right, for the construction loan, as we simultaneously take the money from the investors.
Sure. Money's due now, construction will be in place, and it'll convert it up on completion. But you'll receive your 6% the entire time, like as a draw on a construction loan.
Yep.
So it's not like you gotta wait a year to start getting a payback.
So basically, once you give your money, you're going to start getting your
It's a good deal.
return monthly.
Yeah.
That's why we've held off on accepting the money as we've been waiting on the construction,
Yep.
because there's just a long process to get it approved through the city.
How much have you raised
It's not
so
an
far?
easy process.
How many
We've raised right now a minimum of $200,000, potentially for $300,000 or $400,000.
How many investors
I'd like to raise $500,000. 5 investors at $100,000 apiece. We don't have all 5, no. Now, you know, we're taking this, I personally could fund this, but I'm choosing to bring investors in because of other projects that we're doing. And we're looking to put capital in different things, i.e. Greatness Factory for kids. There's other concepts that we're trying to bring to the market simultaneously.
Retreat centers.
Retreat centers. So what I'm trying to do is open this up to a round of investors to say you can be on the front end of this. Brent Dyer is an investor of this. David Stegg's an investor in this. Dylan Stevens is looking at being an investor in this. You know, so there's different people that are in the program that are looking at it. Okay.
I'll invest in it, but I will talk to you about the particulars. Because I've got a lot of stuff going on right now as
Sure.
well. But I would like to do that. And I think I also want to buy one of these. Does it have a lock on the door? Your office?
Yes.
It does have a lock on the door? Because that's what SEC requires.
Right.
Yeah, I think I also want to become a tenant.
Okay.
So,
Good.
but there's another offer that
I want to talk about a tenant also, yeah. But that'll be later.
okay.
Okay. Great. Anybody else got any questions? I think we're going to retrofit these in other markets. We don't have to build them from scratch. I mean, these are expensive buildings to build. You know, we're basically steel's at an all-time high right now, but we got a big vision. And my point has been, we're going to push through and build this thing, man. You know, we're going to push through and build it. Okay? So I'll come back and visit with you about your particulars. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Is being in the monster producer program a prerequisite to use the space? Or is it just open
No.
for anybody?
No. It's open. I mean, we want a place that anybody in the community can come to. I mean, I see a city that's active all day. People are coming. People are working there. People are in the offices. A vibrant place. People working out in the gym. People on the rooftop.
There is a monthly fee though, if that's your question, but you don't have to be a monster producer, no.
That's right.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Good deal. Good first. Okay, good deal. All right, now,
I
Dre,
wish he
you want
was
to come up
more
here?
focused.
Get this thing up and going? Go ahead and get it on. I'm going to pitch one more concept. And I'm going to be honest with you. Out of all the concepts I have ever come up with, this could be the biggest one. Okay? And I can't tell you how many people have validated this concept. So the next thing I'm going to pitch is this. So we have built the Greatness Factory for Kids. This is an online learning platform which can be licensed to anybody in the world. Okay, when you think licensing, I want you to think of it like this. There are 58,000 students in the Rutherford County school system. If we just license it to them at $5 a person, we're generating $300,000. And here's the best part. You don't have to do anything. It's all online. It's all interactive. So the Greatness Factory for Kids is a online learning platform like Monster Producer Online. Everybody with me? Okay, I believe one of the biggest things that students lack today is they're not being taught the important emotional intelligence things they need. They're not being taught bounce back, confidence, how to raise capital, how to open a conversation, how to overcome objection, how to handle rejection. When I was a high school coach, I specialized in coaching kids in these things, which is why we won so many games, because we were teaching the whole person. So, over the last X number of years, every morning when I woke up in my Monster Producer Planner, I wrote down, I'm supposed to be doing something for kids. I'm supposed to be doing something for kids. And I fought it as long as I could. Till finally I said, you know what, I'm going to go in and do this. So I spent the money up front to have the online platform, which is typically about $25,000 to $50,000. And then we have basically interactive lessons. So when you think about this, I want to show you exactly what it would look like, because this is real important. So if you go to CoachBurt.com and you sign into the Monster Growth Academy, no different than you would for the other one. Okay, we have the ability to white label things, which means we can create an online platform. Okay, so I'm going to show you how this quickly, my online academy, quickly becomes the Greatness Factory for Kids. So there's the online platform for kids. We're piggybacking off my main platform. Does that make sense? So we can white label this, okay? Now, once you go in here, basically once you go into the training center, you can get this on your phone, you can get it on your laptop, you can get it on a computer. Once you go in here, they have lessons, so there's a downloadable workbook for them to work on. Okay? Once you go into this section, it's basically interactive lessons. Okay? So this basically brings up a lesson, how to attack a day. Once you click on how to attack a day, I pop up and I start coaching. Okay? So imagine teachers using this at the school to go through how to attack a day, how to bounce back, how to handle confidence. Okay? Here's an example. Middle Tennessee Christian is partnered with me, so they bought 250 licenses. Every 6th grader, 7th grader, 8th grader, 9th grader will go through this content. Okay, Bill Taylor, Bushido School of Karate, has purchased 50 seats for this. So kids that go to his karate school will purchase this. But we're just now getting started. We haven't even talked about Sylvan Learning Center. We haven't talked about all the daycare centers around the country. We haven't talked about all of the people we can sell to. Rutherford County, 58,000 students in this market. So there are people out there that have privatized schools. We're in talks right now with this group that's got 50 private schools. These are for-profit, private charter schools that are looking at taking this type of content in there, because there is no content like this. So basically tonight, what I'm offering in this is for $100,000, I'm offering a 10% equity stake in this building, in this concept. Okay? Now, for that, you don't have to pay the $100,000 up front. Derek and I talked about it. You could pay it in installments of $10,000 at a time. Okay? But to be on the ground floor of this, you know, it kind of makes me cringe to give away 10%, just to be honest with you. But you say, what would I do with this? I would hire a full-time person, and we would spend the marketing dollars to get this out there in the world. I believe if this had a full-time person that did nothing but work on it every day, that had talks with schools, I think this thing would blow up and be a ridiculous partner. Okay?
You can tell them?
Okay? We're in. Me and Tom will split.
Okay? This tank is working pretty good for me tonight. You know, I think when you're looking at this, right now I think we're only looking to give away 10% because I have another partner, which is my online partner, Brad Lee, who handles all of the back end of this. And he gets a percentage of every single deal because he handles all of the technology. So we're only going to give up about 10%. Yes. Well, with the early adopters, What we're basically doing is looking for a proof of concept right now.
that money and hire
So,
somebody?
you know, in some instances, we have the flexibility to do any type of deal we want. We can do $5 a kid. We can do, you see what I'm saying? We can do a few dollars a kid. We can always go up to $49 a kid. I mean, we can control the pricing. So what I did with Bill Taylor is I think I did $49 per kid or per license, or $69, something like that. Middle Tennessee Christian paid a lump sum just to get 250. But that was the first big win for me, to turn around and do a press release that said Coach Burt partners with Middle Tennessee Christian. Does that make sense? But I see it, look, I'm looking for bulk. I'm looking for going, you know, like I said, going to Rutherford County schools and saying $5 a kid, and you can have it for an entire year.
What do you define as good or great?
Great question. I know it says Greatness Factory for Kids, but the truth is this is applicable for students that are young, like my daughter and I go through it at night. She's 6 years old. So what we do is I pull it up on my phone, I let her click it and mess around with it, and she pulls up a lesson. That's a 2 to 3 minute lesson, and then we talk about it. So we did one on leadership the other night. She equated leadership with being a line leader, you know, so I'm like, what does it mean to be a line leader, to get up front, to lead? So it creates a little dialogue. Now, the parent, let's say Eric wants to sit down at night and go through this. He may say, well, what am I going to cover tonight? What am I going to go through? The lessons are already set. So you can go through and pick the lesson and go, tonight we're talking about how to attack a day. So my daughter and I sit down and do our goals for the next day. And she's 6 years old. And we talk about what are your goals for tomorrow. So she watches a little video, then we do it. At Middle Tennessee Christian, they're going to do it in their classroom. Teachers are going to watch it, students are going to watch it, and then they're going to do exercises around it. So that's the way I see it working. But it could go all the way up to high school. Bill Taylor said he was going through the lessons today. Their lessons we're teaching you at this level.
What's the returns? You say 10% of the company. What's the
Well,
a yearly, a monthly?
you're basically an equity partner. So as we generate profits and bring money in from that, then you're gonna get a distribution.
When you say we, is that you and Derek and Brad?
Basically, think of this as its own entity. Greatness Factor for Kids is its own entity. So if these guys are investors, we take that money that they invest, we turn around and go hire people. Those people are going to go out and start selling it. As we bring revenue in, then we're going to share that money.
So you're only looking for one right now?
Or two.
I'm sorry, we're all
Yeah.
taken up by now.
If these guys have already taken, these guys are already taking that,
Hey,
and they did get first. That's
Hey,
you know,
upgrade
that's
your
the concept.
monster producer. You'll be up here.
Can you say arrogant idiots?
Yes, sir.
Can you? I mean,
On the Greatness Factor for Kids. Now, what I'm talking about right now is the online version. So the Greatness Factor for Kids, we got the lot sold up to do that, but that'll be in the future. Okay? All right, let me ask you this. Thank you very much, guys, for believing in me and making that investment, because I think we're going to do big things. Was this valuable for you tonight to think about this? I know I'm just, you know, even from Susie Q's deal, when she's pitching that, that's a deal we need to look at. You got a lot of potential in what you're talking about for big partners. Blake, you got the seed of something great. I think you need to check out the hub, right, and talk about that. And you know, I think tonight was a good learning experience for all of us to get started in this, right? So I want to thank you for coming and making the first Monster Tank. We're going to do this once a quarter, by the way. So if you got an idea you want to pitch or come back and pitch it again, then bring it. Best thing, you never know what could happen once you get in there. Fair enough? Okay, thank you guys. Have a good night. Thank you. Guys, what an incredible night in Monster Tank. If you notice, we raised about I raised about $192,000 in Monster Tank tonight. Raised $100,000 for my Greatness Factory for Kids online, okay, which is going to allow me to hire a person to dedicate the marketing to it, blow it up, raise another $50,000 for an equity stake in the Greatness Factory, with a potential another $50,000 coming down the road, and we picked up a renter for the Greatness Factory at $42,000, $192,000 one night right here at the Greatness Factory. And I think I had the shortest pitch of everybody. I think we did it in about 15 or 16 minutes. So a lot of good lessons tonight. We learned a lot. I think people did a fantastic job pitching their concepts, especially for the first time, man. It's tough up there. You're going to get some hard questions, so be on the lookout for the next Monster Tank. See if you can come in and raise a couple $100,000 bucks, 15 or 20 minutes.